It has become human nature to think that peace can be achieved for those you love by waging war against those you hate. But pursuing such peace often comes at the cost of those you are fighting for.
And so when my father came home with a black eye, after a bully kicked him around the schoolyard, my grandfather stood embarrassed. He shoved his son down the stairs, threw him a Louisville Slugger, and then told him not to return home until that bat was covered in blood. And so my father did what he felt he had to do and grew up in a world of retribution. See, in my household, it was not eye for an eye. It was your eye before mine.
So when our country came home with a blackened sky after bullies smashed planes into the Twin Towers, our people stood in horror, shoved their children across the ocean, threw them M16 assault rifles, and never told them when they could return home, even after their memories were covered in blood. So they did what they thought they had to do, while fighting in a world of retribution. See, in our nation, the war was an eye for an eye, but it has become your country before mine.
We will never back down because we are angry.
And we have every right to be.
We do.
We have every right to be angry, to shed angry tears over the death of loved ones.
To want to kill the man who raped a child.
To want to torture the man who tortured your husband.
To want justice served in the swinging of a baseball bat.
To want something to end the pain in your gut when you lie down in your bed next to an impression of where your loved one used to sleep.
You cannot deny the human feeling that follows conflict, no matter what it may be. It cannot be ignored.
It should not be ignored because it is real and honest and too personal to be called wrong.
It cannot be wrong to feel anger for the murder of your people during apartheid.
It can't be wrong to be upset with the person who broke your heart.
Or feel hatred for the father who raised you to take hits and taught you how to hate yourself.
So many people think they find forgiveness when all they do is forget. A woman turns her back on a rapist in court, not because she is forgiven, but because she desires to move past the moment her fight was taken from her. It is so much easier to forget than to forgive.
To walk away from the man who abandoned you as a child than to turn around and embrace him as a father.
It is so much easier to give a homeless lady a coin from your pocket than it is to let her into your heart.
It is easier to shrug off the embarrassment of being bullied than it is to face it head on
and meet every fist with an open hand. How can we raise a fist at our enemies, yet not use it to hit a single foe?
How can we cry and scream for the death of children, but never incite a riot to kill killers?
How can we be human together when so often we dehumanize each other?
To realize the thing I most hate in you
is the thing I most hate in me. The asshole driving on my tail only angers me because of how I view myself.
I used to find trouble at every party I went to because, quite honestly, that's exactly what I was looking for.
So when I hate a man for killing my people
and feel justified in killing his,
I have decided to forget what it felt like to hold on to the dead.
To suffer endlessly at the hands of an invader. We so quickly forget how to forgive others
that we forget, most of all, how to forgive ourselves. Because I've asked myself many times, who can forgive me for all that I've done? For all the women I've ever lied to?
For the family I left behind?
For the time I broke a kid's jaw to prove my worth?
For the child's life I turned inside out when I beat his father into the ground?
For the time I told my mother I could see why my dad left her?
For the time I came home with the scratches from another woman on my back?
I have tried to fight back by building up walls around my heart.
And by beating sense into my brain with a bare fist.
But the fighting did not give me strength.
It only left me weak.
I have tried
to forget by becoming another person. And by borrowing the facade I so often saw my father wear.
But the guilt would not let me escape.
It only haunted me in my dreams.
And so I dream of all those I have forgiven and ask how I ever learned how to forgive them.
That man for raping my sister.
That woman for breaking my heart.
That father for never showing me how to cry.
That father for leaving me behind.
But I realize there's still one man who I've not yet forgiven.
For every moment of pain he put me through.
And that man
is me.
My father couldn't do it.
My country couldn't either. And so before you, I take the first small steps to forgiving myself.
So that one day, when I have my son,
And he comes home with a bruise from the bully down the street.
I will not be embarrassed. Instead, I will stand
Of
proud.
a son who faced fear and felt
And
fists.
though red with anger and covered in tears,
Did not let his fists speak for him, because
in my household,
in my vision for the world, we will not value eye for an eye
we will value the one good eye we have left
and use it to see the love
in all of our enemies.